The rollout of COVID-19 vaccines has brought the American economy somewhat back to life, but the other side effects of the pandemic are wreaking havoc on the global supply chain. American consumers are buying up products faster than suppliers can ship them. A recent article in The Atlantic examines the root causes of this so-called everything shortage, and it comes right before the holiday season. And the author of that piece, Derek Thompson, joins us now to discuss the country's crowded ports and emptying shelves. Derek, good to see you, my friend.
Good to be back. Thank you.
So explain the Hydra of bottlenecks, that's what you called it, that are contributing to the everything shortage in America right now.
So before you get to the Hydra of bottlenecks, you have this enormous amount of demand that's coming from the U.S. economy. And it's demand for hard goods, electronics, stuff that tends to be made in Vietnam, Malaysia, China. So we're trying to pull all this thing in from the supply chain, and the supply chain... Excuse me? Sorry, what did you say?
Nope, continue.
Oh, that's right. So basically, we're trying to pull in all this stuff from the supply chain, and we're not being able to do so. And so fundamentally, the problem here is that the demand is outstripping our capacity to pull all of these goods through the supply that we have. So what is that supply? Well, we have container ships that are bobbing off the coast of Los Angeles and Long Beach. We have trains that are backed up because you have all these containers in the Pacific Ocean. In addition to the rail that's backed up, we have a shortage of truckers, a 60,000 trucker shortage in the United States that pre-existed the pandemic but is now being exacerbated by it. And the way that's cashing out for consumers, or not cashing out for them, is exactly what you can see on the screen. You see that you go to your Walgreens and your CVS's, your pharmacies, your Walmarts, and the shelves are empty because all this stuff is stuck upstream. So it's two problems: lots of demand, and that's not entirely a bad thing, and not enough supply to meet that demand.
Derek, I hit my breaking point when I could not find Lunchables for my kid. And these new types of kids, you can't just do homemade Lunchables and convince them that it's the same thing, right? You got to buy the brand name. Couldn't find it anywhere. And I started Googling. I realized that, there are parents all over the place as school started that were having the same issue. And some people speculated that it wasn't the contents of the meal that was the problem. It was the plastic container, the molded plastic container. And so then I started reading about all these other sort of one-off shortages that are holding up whole products. And then on top of that, you have the issue with shipping containers. They are hot commodities now. The price of a shipping container has gone through the roof. The freight prices have gone through the roof. Where are all the shipping containers? Why are they not in rotation?
Well, a lot of them are in rotation because, again, they're stuck in the Pacific Ocean, bobbing off the coast of Los Angeles. But just to put a single statistic to exactly the point that you made, before the pandemic, if you're in the book industry and you're trying to ship books overseas or ship them to the United States, you can sell them in bookstores. Well, before the pandemic, 2019, reserving a container that held 35,000 books cost about $2,500. Now it costs $25,000. So the cost of shipping books has gone up 10x. Now multiply that across the entire economy, not just the books, but the plastics and the semiconductor pieces and the Pelotons and the furniture and the clothes or some other consumer staple that you might try to find at a CVS. That's why the shelves are empty. And so important again to say, it feels like an everything shortage. It feels like you go to the store, you go shopping online, it says, sorry, this is going to be delayed. You thought you were going to get it on Tuesday. It's going to come next Wednesday. Or you want to buy the shampoo and it's not there. It feels like a shortage, but in large part, this is coming from the fact that Americans are demanding a lot more. We got our stimulus checks, wages are rising. We're trying to buy a lot more, but we're pulling it through channels that haven't grown to accommodate all of this surplus demand.
Yeah, and I wonder a couple of things, Derek, too. What this sort of signifies about the collapse of the manufacturing industry in this country. We don't really make anything anymore in the United States. Made in the USA used to be a real thing. It's not as common now for many of the products, the thousands, not millions of products that we buy every time we click on buy now on Amazon. And the other question is the rest of the world feeling this? I mean, we keep talking about Americans not being able to buy the things that they want, and that Christmas is going to be difficult if you don't start making decisions or purchases right now in October. But I wonder, is that the same in Europe? Is that the same in Asia? Or is it just a uniquely American phenomenon? Both of those questions, I guess, are sort of U.S. centric, but I wonder what you make of it.
Sure. So this is definitely not a U.S. phenomenon exclusively. When I wrote this article about the everything shortage, why it seems like America's running out of everything right now, I got all these emails and notes from people in the UK and Germany and France, and they said, oh, we have an everything shortage. We have an everything shortage. There was just an article in the New York Times, I believe, relatively recently about how Germany is really struggling because they're more export dependent than the U.S. The U.S. makes and buys a lot of stuff within the U.S. Germany is more reliant on its economy growing by its ability to manufacture within the country and sell outside of the country. So this is happening everywhere. It's not exclusively going to be fixed by us suddenly flipping a dial on manufacturing today, although certainly I believe the U.S. should make more stuff in the next decade, especially make more stuff that we consider a part of our national security. Because remember, it's not just the shampoos and the electronics that we have a shortage of. It's we couldn't make enough masks at the beginning of the pandemic. We didn't have enough glass vials throughout the pandemic. We still don't have enough tests, enough cheap tests, so that we can tell if we have COVID, a breakthrough case or an original case, and then go about our lives. So I think it's important to look at this story, not just in the context of, oh, I would like more Lunchables and I can't buy them, although that is absolutely and very clearly a problem lots of people are facing, but also in the bigger picture, I think America needs to think about abundance in a different way. We shouldn't have shortages. We should have abundance. We should have a policy to make more and guarantee the production of more, everything that we deem essential to American life. And we just haven't had that strategy, I think, in the last few decades. It's been a strategy of offshoring and outsourcing. We need to think about a domestic abundance strategy as well.
I think that's a great point. I will just have you know that if you had to look into the glassy, teary eyes of a 10-year-old when you explained that she was not getting the lunch that she wanted to, you would consider this a top-notch emergency. You might even tweet Lunchables to find out what's going on. You might do that. But listen, you know, it's not just about sort of a shortage of things. It's also a shortage of humans, right? We've been talking about how there's a worker shortage everywhere in all sectors. You know, some people say, oh, it has to do with the government handing out these checks, the stimulus money. Do you think that's part of it? Because now, the expanded unemployment isn't there anymore, but people still are not heading back to work at the rate that others had hoped.
Yeah. So this is an interesting question, and I just saw a poll on it yesterday, and it seems like this is what's happening. Earlier this summer, if you ask people, why aren't you going back to work? The answer was, I'm afraid of Delta. Then in the middle of the summer, it became, I'm not going back to work because I have enough of a financial cushion that might have come from the expanded unemployment insurance, or it might have come from the residuals from the stimulus checks that were handed out earlier this year and last year. Today, the most popular answer for people saying why they're not coming back to the economy is that their spouse is providing for both of them. Now, I see that as probably incorporating a little bit of financial cushions and a little bit of fear of COVID. I think it's maybe people who might have been part of a dual earner household and are saying, well, we have enough savings right now, and at least one of the partners is working, so I don't need to rush back to work. But one thing that we definitely see in the so-called great resignation that's happening right now, because not only do we have the shortage of stuff, we also have more people quitting their jobs in the last few months than any other time on record in American history. I think what that has to do with is the fact that lower income workers now can be a little bit more choosy. Maybe they have a job as a server at a restaurant making $9 an hour, and they see that there's a help wanted sign right up the road for $13 an hour. So they're quitting their job and going to that other job. So you have a lot of people who are sort of churning within labor markets and maybe waiting outside labor markets saying, I want to wait for a high-paying job that I actually want rather than jumping for the first job that I need. So a lot of stuff is happening at the same time, but it is absolutely contributing at the moment to a shortage of both goods and salaried workers.
Derek, before we let you go, let me ask you about the United States Postal Service and the role that it may have played in the breakdown of the supply chain. I know that there are people who see everything through the lens of politics, and they will point to some of the policies of President Biden as one of the reasons why we're seeing this breakdown. But if you go back and you look at 2020, we were talking about this in 2020. In 2020, you had people who were at the Postal Service saying in 35, 40 years, they had not seen the shortages and the blockages that they had seen back in November and December of 2020. So explain what policies went into effect in 2020 that may have led to where we are today. I mean, this was not unforeseen.
Right. So basically, long story short, USPS is dealing with a deficit. They're trying to close that deficit by reducing use of air transportation. If you reduce use of air transportation, what are you relying on? Well, slower moving things like trains or cars. And as a result, USPS is now telling people that deliveries to local areas that are, originating from outside that zip code might be delayed by 1 or 2 days. And again, if you stop flying the mail or packages on planes and you rely on rail or truck, that means relying on two forms of transportation that I've already told you are dealing with shortages and delays because of all the problems related within this supply chain. So I do think that people, big picture, should have their expectations vastly reduced for the expediency of delivery of stuff for Christmas. If you want to not have your child with the glassy, cryy eyes that you described with the Lunchables situation be magnified by 10x when they don't get their favorite toy for Christmas or Hanukkah, you should definitely, I think, start ordering those toys now, or dramatically, shaping your child's expectations of what they're going to get and when it's going to arrive. For me, I'm Jewish, so celebrating Hanukkah, I'm somewhat used to a holiday beginning and then the best present only being delivered 8 days later. Maybe we can all practice this sort of Hanukkian strategy for the delivery of our presents to kids.
Well, I've already put out the warning that everyone's getting gift cards so that they can take to the stores where they will have nothing to buy, but at least I can say I did my part. Derek Thompson, it's a very complicated thing, but I think you did an excellent job at giving us a snapshot of where we are now with all these supply chain hiccups. Thank you so much.
Thank you.